If you've never been to Vietnam, it's easy to get the wrong idea from all those videos out there, The one saying you can live here for like 500 to 1,000 bucks a month. Like it's some kind of budget paradise, and sure, that might be true if you're single and don't need much to get by. But everything starts to shift once you got kids. So today I'm going to break down what it really costs to live in Saigon with a family, just to help you get a more realistic picture before deciding to move here. If you're looking to give your kid an international environment where there's around different cultures, learn English and get a more modern, personalized education, then international schools are probably your best bet. These schools usually balance theory with hands-on learning. They respect kids individually, try to stay politically neutral, and connect them with a broader, often healthier community. There are quite a few of them in Saigon. Some of the well-known ones are the International School of Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon South International School, and the British International School. But heads up, this school comes with a price tag. Tuition's a big commitment, especially as your kids get older. The tuition depends on your kid's grade and the school itself, but it usually starts around 10 grand a year and can go all the way up to 33 grand. And if you got 2 kids, yeah, that adds up fast. If you look in the cut cost a bit, Vietnamese private school are the next step down. There are a ton of private schools around Saigon, and the quality really depends. Some are solid, others not so much. Most of them teach mainly in Vietnamese with just one English class, so your kid might pick up the language quickly, which can actually be a huge plus. But if neither of you speak Vietnamese, stuff like parent meetings or helping with homework might be a real challenge. If you really care about your kids' well-being, you probably want a safe, friendly neighborhood, somewhere your kid can ride their bike, run around, and hang out with kind, respect neighbors. If you're into the idea of a house with a little yard, somewhere crowded with room for the kids to play and grow, then District 7, especially Phu My Hung, is a great area to check out. It's cleaner, greener, and a lot more peaceful than many other parts of the city. You've got wide sidewalks, gated communities, international schools nearby, and all the everyday stuff like parks and grocery stores just around the corner. Rental prices for houses here usually start around 900 bucks a month and can go up past $3,000 a month. It really depends on the size, condition, and where exactly it's located. Now, if you're more into apartment living with modern buildings, shared amenities, and a bit of that community vibe, there are tons of good options across the city. Places like Vinhomes Central Park, Vinhomes Golden River, Shala City, or Mastery Thao Dien on offer clean, secure spaces with swimming pools, gyms, playgrounds, little shops, and even school all within walking distance. These spots are really popular with expats and upper middle class families who seek comfort, convenience, and more city-style way of living. Apartments in these complexes usually go for anywhere from between $600 to $1,500 a month, depend on things like the size, floor, level, location, and what kind of amenities you get in. Quick heads up, if you are in Thao Dien, some older parts of that area still flood during heavy rains or high tide. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's sometimes to keep in mind. How much you spend on groceries really depends on your family's eating habit. If you mostly cook at home using local ingredients like fresh veggies, tofu, rice, pork, or chicken from the wet market, you probably spend somewhere between $100 to $300 per person each month. But if you're stocking up on imported stuff like Australian beef, bistrim, or Western snack, your grocery bill can shoot up fast. In that case, you might be looking at $800 or more per person. Getting around is another big monthly cost. If you mainly rely on ride-hailing apps like Grab for work commutes, school drop-offs, and weekend outings, your monthly costs can reach $300 or more, especially with surge pricing. Renting a motorbike is the most budget-friendly choice, about $50 a month, with fuel adding another $20 to $40, but you're paying with something else: your health, your safety, and honestly, your peace of mind. We ride like many families here, three on a bike, I'm in front, Daniel sits between us, and my wife holds on from the back. On busy roads, especially near industrial zones, trucks push right up against bike. Sometimes there's barely half a meter of space to ride in. One day, our front wheel hit something hidden. The bike shook. My wife lost her balance and fell right into the path of a speeding truck. I was ahead of Daniel. I turned back, screamed, and threw my left hand up so hard that our bike lost balance and we all went down. We'll never forget that movement. That's the real cost behind the numbers. A car gives you more safety, more space, more peace of mind, but cars in Vietnam are expensive, often 2 to 3 times what you pay in the US. Renting one that'll run you $800 a month or more, plus another $100 to $200 for gas. To give you a real-world idea, this is what our little family of 3 usually spend each month living in Saigon. We rent a 2-bedroom apartment in District A for about $400 per month, including utilities. Our daughter's education costs around $300 per month. We own our motorbike, so transport is super affordable, about $20 a month for fuel and a little more for maintenance now and then. Grocery usually lands around $300 a month, since we mostly cook at home and avoid too many imported items. On and on, our basic living costs come to roughly $1,100 a month. Of course, that can go up with unexpected things like repairs, doctor visits, or replacing something that breaks. As you probably seen by now, the cost of living in Saigon has been pretty widely, depending on the kind of life you want to build for your family. If you're okay compromising a bit on education, safety, or comfort, your cost could drop around $1,370 or even less. But that often comes with trade-offs. On the flip side, if you want a higher standard of living, great schools, clean and safe neighborhoods, easier transportation, you could be looking at $7,600 a month or more. But with that comes a lot more peace of mind. Most expat families, though, tend to fall somewhere in the middle between $1,300 and $7,600 a month, depending on the kind of life they choose to build. When you got a family, it's almost never as cheap as $500 a month you hear about from solo travelers. You're not just getting by, you're protecting, nurturing, and try to build something better for the future. But that said, Saigon is still way more affordable than many places around the world, and if you don't factor things like the private school tuitions, the overall cost of living can actually be reasonable and full of life. Thanks for hanging out with me, and hope this gave you a clearer picture of what life really like in Saigon.